Hello, I'm Wendy and this is Pretty Forever. Today I'm just going to take you along with me as I put on my makeup. I've actually got kind of a late start today, and I'm going to start with a foundation that I haven't used very much lately. I don't know why I quit, because when I first got it I just loved it, and I don't know, you change, you try something new, you go with it for a while. This one is by Pure and it's P-U with an umlaut and R. And the color is light, and it's a stick foundation. And what I've discovered about this is it blends so well with a damp sponge. Now, I've used it before with just fingers or a sponge that's not damp, and I don't really want it to be heavy looking. So today I'm going to just add it like this, here and there, and I'm going to blend it with the damp sponge, and you'll see what happens when I do that, because it smooths out so beautifully. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I always have to deal with pores because mine are quite visible. They're not huge, they're just not, I don't have really fine skin. So when I use foundation, see how this goes right over the top? I have to kind of work it in so that it camouflages those pores. I'm just going to take it up close to my eyes, but not right on them. And just blend it all in. And I usually do put at least some foundation on my eyelids. I like things to blend really well together. And even though, you know, it tends to get camouflaged with eyeshadow and whatnot, I like to just make sure that it kind of gets in and around fairly close to my eyes. So now you can see how beautifully this blends, and I mean, it's a great color for me as well. And sometimes what I do, if I don't want to look too made up, or I don't want the foundation to look too much like, oh gosh, she's wearing lots of foundation, I'll just take some off my nose. So I'm using the back end of the sponge, just so some of my natural color shows through. And then, I mean, it looks a little bit red because my skin, when I press on it, it goes red. And don't ask me why, but it goes away almost immediately. Now for a concealer, this is the order that I usually do things in, although I vary sometimes depending on the concealer that I'm using. And for this one, I'm using Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer, 12 hours waterproof, in the color Natural Rose 007. So this is what it looks like. And how I use it is, again, I don't want buckets of concealer on my face. I do want to look a little bit natural. So I put it like this only, and then take a brush, which I actually still has concealer in it because I don't always clean them out completely. I do that every couple of days. But when you're using a fresh brush, it kind of eats a lot of the concealer, so I'd rather it goes on my face than on into a brush. And then I just go with my finger and just kind of pat and smooth that in around my eyes. Now, concealer will go into the fine lines that you have around your eyes. It's just, but as soon as it gets dry, like you can see here, there's a little bit there. I just go back in and smooth it again. And you can kind of smooth those out. Basically, I pull on the skin a little bit, which I don't think it hurts. I don't think it's going to make any difference at this stage in my life. so I don't really bother about it. Now for blush, I'm using one that I just got actually. It's by Essence, and it's called The Blush, and the color is number 70, Believing. And it says, a silky, smooth powder blush to awaken your complexion, buildable texture that lasts all day. Lovely. And I chose this color because it's similar to the color that my cheeks actually turn. And it seems like, oh wow, that's quite mauvey, but, and I find that it's quite intense, like it goes on really well. I find some blushes you have to really work at to even show. This one gives me lots. Now don't forget, some of the color that you see when I work a blush in is actually my skin color showing through. So I can't really tell how intense the blush is until my skin calms down a little bit. And what I sometimes do then is I have to go in and go, okay, a little too much here, a little too much here, you know, but we'll see. And I'm normally so pale that I don't want anybody to think I'm ill. I do need color on my face. Now for, I'm going to use a bronzer, and this one is, pardon me for putting my glasses on all the time, but I need them to see. This is Hard Candy Just Glow Matte Bronzer Mango Butter, and the color is 1792 Maui Matte. So it's not terribly dark, and what I use it for generally is just under chin, to just take this color back a little bit because the darker colors do recede, and then to define my jawline a little bit more. And then sometimes I'll take it up a little bit here too. I'm also going to put a little bit around the top of my face just to vary my color a little bit so that I'm not just too white. My next step is always to do my brows. And for my brows today, I'm using NYX, also known as NYX. I'm not really sure how they want that pronounced. Eyebrow marker. It's long lasting and the color is medium. So, well, can you see that? And it's like a little pointy marker. And I like it because it just kind of fills in without being really solid. The only thing I don't like about it is that the brown is a little bit on the red side for me. I need cooler colors, and I would prefer probably a taupe color to this browny brown. But once the color mixes with my dark brown brows, it's not that obvious that it's a little bit redder. So I can kind of get away with it. So I just go in here with little strokes as though I'm adding hairs, because there are some parts of my brows that need it, like right here, because I've got some patches that are not very full. Also down here. So there, my brows are just defined a bit. And now you can see how the color on my face has turned. It's not nearly as intense. And it'll continue to kind of be that way. So once I've finished my brows, I've got my face, my blush, my contour, so to speak, and my brows done, then I move on to eyeshadow. And today I'm using this compact, or this palette. It's Essence Ice Baby eyeshadow palette. The colors are, I decided to use blues. I'm going to cover up this mirror so you don't get big reflections, but I decided to use blues because I'm wearing a blue sweater. So I thought, well, okay, that works. And I'm using just a regular eyeshadow brush. This one's by Still. It's my usual one. And the color that I'm starting with is, where's my brush, is this blue one. And it's called VIP. They have great names. I've only had this short time. I think I've only used it once. Oh, I missed one step. For eyeshadow primer, I'm using NYX HD Studio Photogenic eyeshadow base, and it's color number 04. I'll put links below to everything that I can find that I'm using here. We'll see. So just a little bit of this, and then I just go straight down with it and sideways. And I prefer one with a little bit of color in it because it camouflages the unevenness of the color of my skin on my upper eyelids. That needs to dry for a moment, and while it's drying, I'm going to take a tissue and take some of this off, because this is a new blush to me, and it goes on a little bit more intense than some of my others. And not only that, but when you put it on a cream, which is like the foundation that I used, it's going to grab more. So we'll see how that looks. All right, I think this is probably dry enough. It only takes seconds. So this color here, just blow off the excess. Make sure this is nice and dry. Because if it's not, then the eyeshadow sticks like crazy. Now, one of the problems with having older skin is the wrinkles you get in your eyelids make it hard to put eyeshadow on smoothly. So sometimes what I do is just hold my skin out a little bit so that it kind of pulls all those folds out. For my age, I really don't have a lot of wrinkling because it's mostly quite fine. However, you still have to deal with it. This eyeshadow is really sticking onto my primer, so I'm going to just blend and blend and blend. I've got my other mirror over here so I can get a little bit of a distance view, because this one is 7 times magnifier and it's a little bit hard to get the whole picture. And now I'm going to switch to this brighter blue, and let's just find out the name of that one. It is called Collaborate and Listen. That's an interesting one. Okay, all right. And for this, I'm using this little brush, which is by Quo. Just picking up some of that. Blow it off a little bit. Ooh, this is intense. It's a lot brighter than I expected, and it has no shine or sparkle in it at all. So I just wiped some off so that I can blend it without just putting more of that intensity around. And then over here too. So I want to blend it in. Now there are schools of thought that say blue eyeshadow, you know, nobody should ever do it or wear it or whatever. But it's up to you what you want to do, what you want to do with your face and your life. And the wonderful thing is we get to choose. And because I'm wearing a blue top, I have to say this is a little bit more intense than I expected, but I thought, well, because I'm wearing a blue top, I'm not going anywhere today, you know, it doesn't matter so much. However, I think I'm going to make some adjustments here. First, I'm going to put some color under my eyes, and to do that, I'm using this color here, which is called 100% Cold. It's a very cold gray, and cool colors usually work better on me than warm colors by quite a bit, I have to say. And I'm using just a flat brush. This one is by Lise Wattier. It's a really nice brush because you can turn any eyeshadow into an eyeliner with one of these flat brushes. And I'm also going to take some of this over here. It actually has quite a bit of shine in it. That's surprising, because it looks so intensely dark. What do you think? It's pretty intense, but I think I like it. Now, I also want to use some of the other colors. Now, sorry about the mirror here. I keep forgetting that part, but let's see. Let's do it this way. See the other colors that are in there? We've got Rock a Mic on the top, and I'll Glow, and Vanilla Ice over here. So I'm going to use the Vanilla Ice and put some up here. And I'm going to drag it down into the blue, just to soften that up. I think it looks okay. And I'm taking the silver, I'm just putting it in this part here. Just kind of dabbing it in. Pull my skin a little bit so that it goes in between the soft spots. Like this. It gives a bit of shine in this corner. I think it looks nice. For a mascara, I'm going to use my favorite one, which is Maybelline Lash Sensational, which is so hard to say in black, and curl my eyelashes. Now when I curl my eyelashes, I bring it as close as I can to my skin and give it a really good squeeze. And then little squeezes moving up the length of my lashes. I don't have really long eyelashes, so I have to do what I can. And then I'll sometimes just pull it off so that it just bends them with a nice curve. And then with this brush, it's got a curve in it as well, which I find useful. But I also find that the side with the really short bristles doesn't hold that much mascara. So I try to use the side of it to lay down as much as possible on the first coat, because I always go over it a couple of times. I just bought a new one of these, but I haven't opened it yet. Now, one thing I usually do is just go right like that and get off anything that's sort of dusted down. My eyes are actually hazel colored, so blue actually sets them off quite well. It works with my skin color. I want to do some lips, and I'm going to use this lip liner, which is Avon Glimmer Sticks for Lips in the color Misty Rose, which is kind of a neutral color. Well, a little bit on the pink side of neutral. I have my glasses on and I look in this magnifying mirror. It doesn't work that well. Now I'm just filling in a little bit. This way there's a nice base for my lip gloss. Also, what you have to watch for is as your lips get older, they get more lines in them. So you have to really kind of stretch that out. So that's kind of my base color with the liner. And then I'm going in with a lip gloss. And this is one of my favorites, actually. It's called Stay Glossy by Rimmel. And the color is, what color is this? I don't know what the color is, but I sure like it. So you can see I've used quite a bit of it, and I'm due for some new ones. And I really, really like the Rimmel gloss because it goes on light, but it stays. It doesn't feel sticky. I'll put links below for all the things that I've used that I can find. So be sure to have a look there. So here's my today face. Before I go though, number one, be sure you subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so you get the notifications when I have a new video. But I also wanted to talk about what do you do when you're wearing something really plain like this? You know, the neckline doesn't do anything for you necessarily, or you want to step outside the door and look a little bit dressier, but you don't want to change your whole outfit or change your top or anything like that. So I've got just a couple of suggestions. One is to put on some jewelry. So I've put on this necklace, which my mother gave to me a long time ago. Another thing I'll do is just add a scarf. And I've got a little skinny one here, which is just a sheer fabric. So I'll take it like this, wrap it around, and just tie it. So it's just a little neck scarf. I'll tie it, you can either tie it like this, or sometimes what I'll do is take part of it like this underneath and tie them together. Like that. And then it stays put, so one part doesn't hang down and while the other one's choking you, it'll stay with the same length. So there's just a little tip on dressing up a little bit and showing your style. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.